Unit 4, what did you do? And we started by taking a look at a time, or o'clocks. And a reminder that time usually we count with is the hour, and our hour is typically G. And all we do is stick a number in front. The ones to remember that don't actually follow what you think they will be 4, which becomes yoji, 7, which is shichiji. You do hear nanaji, but I prefer shichiji, and 9, which is kuji. So that's the basic hour. So yoji would be 4 o'clock. Usually we add goro on. Goro means around or about. And most Japanese don't want to be rude in being incorrect. So yoji goro is better than saying yoji and being at 4:01 instead of 4 o'clock. The other thing we looked at is adding half hours or minutes on. So if we were to take our minutes, that's the character fun or pun. And in order to know whether to read it fun or pun, we knew that if it ended in 5, it would be read fun, and if it ended in a 0, it would be read pun, and that's an easy way to do it. So 4:10 would be yoji jippun. Yoji jippun. The other thing that you can do in telling time instead of doing minutes is you can do the idea of half. And our word for half is han. And han just means half of whatever we're talking about. So in order to say 4:30, you can't just say yo han. It would have to be yoji, and then the han here. And yoji han 4:30. We also introduced the idea of AM and PM, and AM and PM in Japanese go in front, and AM goes in, or PM go. So if it was 4:30 in the morning, gozen yoji han. If it was 4:30 in the afternoon, go yoji han. Another thing we introduced in this chapter, and keep in mind in this chapter again, everything it comes off the must. We are not using that koto item in here at all. Another thing we looked at is transportation words. And in transport, the question usually is, nan de, your signal is de, ikimasu ka. How are you getting there? And then we would just plug in our transportation word where the nan was. The only one to remember that doesn't function that way is, actually Toho does. So Toho de, basu de, ikimasu would be appropriate answers. The one that doesn't is aru ite, and if you choose to use that version of walking, then you don't need the day added on. We also talked about places we go to and places where we do things at, and this is a change in signal. So if we have a place and we choose the signal ni, we are going to the place. If we choose the signal de, we are at the place. So it can be uchi ni ikimasu. I'm going to the house. And uchi de nemasu. I am sleeping at home. So you just have to ask yourself, are you going to the place or are you already at the place? Oops. When we are looking at doing things or didn't do any doing things, must is always for things that I do. So in the past it would be mashita, I did. So tabemasu, I eat. Tabemashita, I ate. This also works with negatives. So tabemasen, I don't eat, becomes tabemasen deshita, I didn't eat. So that's the way we'll alternate our tenses. So don't. So tabemasen. And tabemasen deshita, I didn't eat. This is also where we examine describing how something was. So this is for our actions that we do. Now we're going to look at how you describe something was. So we had our do desu ka, and that would take us to do deshita ka. How was it? How is it? How was it? Now generally when we have describing words, they end in "e", something like sugoi desu. And if it's not good, it would be sugokunai desu. So in this particular case for was, it's always the idea of dropping something and adding something. So we would take a look at sugoi desu. We don't change the desu, we actually change the sugoi. That e comes off and we add kata, small tsu there. When we're doing the sugokunai desu, it works the same way. So sugokunai desu stays the same. And again, we drop the e and we add kata. It was great. What happens if your word doesn't end in e? One of the good examples of that is hen desu, or in its negative, hen janai. And hen ja, there we go. Oops. Hen janai desu. So when we're putting that in the past, we can't add or drop anything from that hen. So the hen stays the same. And what happens here in this particular case is that desu will go to deshita. Now we have hen janai, and all of a sudden I have an e that I can drop. So in this case I say, okay, there's an e, great, I know what to do when we have e's. So it's hen jana kata. It wasn't weird. Hen jana kata desu. A quick review of Unit 4.